Hey, welcome to the show. Every Sunday afternoon, we answer your home improvement questions. My name is Jared Mellick. Sitting next to me is my father, Ken.
Hey, everyone.
Surprise, surprise.
This show is all about your questions, so we're looking forward to your calls.
Where are you? You're in the house. So this show is called In the House, all about home improvement and construction. If you have a project that you're working on and you want to know how to get to the next step, or if there's something in the house that you need to fix, you want to know how to get started with it, this is the place to be. Perhaps you have a structural question, electrical, plumbing, anything having to do with home improvement, you can give us a call, but especially air conditioning, because we've got two great guests here today, and we are talking all about AC, heating, HVAC, cooling systems, heating systems. That's what we're talking about on In the House today. So if you get a chance, give us a call, 407-297-9696, or toll free, 855-297-9696. My name is Jared Mellick, host of this program. Normally sitting next to me is my father, Ken, but we've got two special guests sitting next to me today. And during the week, I own a business. It's called Universal Roof and Contracting, both roofing and building contractor. And then every weekend, we come in and answer your home improvement questions. So if you are thinking about doing a remodel and you want to know what type of remodel pays off, maybe you have a leaky faucet, you want to know how to fix it. Maybe you are thinking about doing an addition and you want to know, how do I get this thing started? Well, you can give us a call. Again, the number's 407-297-9696 or toll free 855-297-9696. All right, let's welcome to the show. First, I'm going to welcome Jeff Revlet. Welcome, brother.
Thank you, Jared. Good to be here.
He is the area sales manager with Goodman. And then we've also got Daniel Santucci. He's the territory sales manager. All right, I want to know who's boss. Let's get it out in the open right now. No, just kidding.
No, I'm scared of Jeff, so yeah, Jeff's my boss.
But these guys are with Goodman AC and Heating, and great manufacturer of air conditioning and heating products, and they've come in today to help answer those air conditioning and heating questions. Now, we seem to have, I don't know if it's I'm getting older or if we really are getting hotter here in the state of Florida, but this summer just has seemed to cook us. Yeah. I mean, and I know air conditioners are getting much more efficient. I know that in my house where I live, I've had problems this year of my AC system actually cooling my property. And do air conditioners get less efficient over time?
Well, the main thing that you got to be aware of, Jared, is maintenance. And if they're not properly maintained over time, and if filters are not changed, that sort of thing, yes, they will become less efficient over time. So it's very important to align yourself with a licensed contractor that will come in and do the proper maintenance to keep those systems as good as they were first day out of the box.
You have to treat it, and that's a good point. You have to treat it like a vehicle, changing your oil and so forth, or it will give you problems.
Yeah, maintenance is really key. And the thing is that anytime you have a mechanical item, you have to do some sort of maintenance to it. It has some sort of life. And so if you do maintenance to it, it's going to last a lot longer. So what is it that is the maintenance that you guys recommend for air conditionings on a yearly or bi-yearly basis?
Well, typically we would recommend at least twice a year to clean the coils. The coils is your heat transfer agent, both the inside and the outside. You have your air handler, and there's a coil inside of that air handler, which is typically in the house or in the garage. And then you have your outdoor unit. Both of those coils need to be cleaned very, very well. The system needs to be checked to make sure there's no leaks, because if there is a leak in the tubing somewhere, then that will obviously affect your efficiency as well. Those are the main things. And, of course, filters have to be cleaned, changed, depending on the type you have, but they have to be maintained as well.
And I was going to say, too, with that, with filters, really, you have to look at, if you have animals in the house, a lot of kids going in and out, that plays quite a big role on it. So always have a schedule in place, and any homeowner can do it. Have a schedule in place, change those filters out once a month, 2 months, and get on a regular basis on that.
I have kids and animals in the house, not separate. They're one and the same, it seems. And it is amazing how much how much dirt, how much hair goes all over the place. Now, what about the filtration systems? It seems to be that there are all different types of filtration systems now today. And what are some of the best that you guys think of?
Yeah, you can look at there's a whole slew of different kind of filtration systems out there. And you get really crazy on it. But a lot of the common ones that you'll see are today are 5-inch filters that you can put in there, and that does filter out a lot of stuff. With those, you don't have to change those out on a regular basis. You can wait maybe 6 months.
Right.
Again, depending on how many animals you have in the house and kids. Also, you can do what we call UV lights, and you may see those in different areas like restaurants, filtration. Areas like Disney World, SeaWorld, you'll have those in the waiting areas. But now people are putting those into the homes to go ahead and filter out a lot of the air and harmful things that are up in the air and so forth.
One thing that's really important to keep in mind as a homeowner is when you talk about efficiency of filters, they actually become more efficient the dirtier they get. Because if you think about if dirt coats that filter, it's not going to let anything else through. So you have to be very mindful. As that filter loads up, it also affects what's called the static pressure of the system. So you're removing a bunch of stuff out of the system. The problem is you're not letting the airflow get through the system as well.
Right.
So it's a trade-off. So I would recommend anyone to look in filtration systems, look at the balance between what will not affect your static pressure but keep the efficiency high as well.
Very well said. All right, if you have an air conditioning question, you can give us a call. The numbers are 407-297-9696 or toll-free 855-297-9696. Any home improvement question is okay today, but we're having a tendency to talk a lot about AC and heat because we're joined by two great guys from Goodman. Great air conditioning manufacturer. All right, let's go to Raj in Osceola County. Raj, you're in the house. Go ahead.
Hello. We have an older house, about 30-plus-year-old, and it has like attic insulation, one of those blown kind.
Yes.
And looks like at some places we have lost, it's either blown away or something. So we are thinking about reinstalling new insulation.
Yes.
And I was wondering whether one of those bats are better or the blown-in, like loose insulation is better for the attic.
Sure. I mean, insulation is key in keeping energy transfer, heat transfer from going inside your attic into your air-conditioned space. Right. So having good insulation is extremely important. Now, because you already have loose, blown-in style insulation, it's always better to add more of the same. So if you want to just do it yourself, you can go to the home improvement store and get it. They also, if you buy a certain amount, a lot of the times the home improvement stores will let you use their machines, or you can rent the machines to do the blown-in style. Or you can hire a company, to come in and blow additional insulation.
Right.
One of the things that we're seeing a lot of as well is doing a thermal barrier on the underside of the roof deck that stops a lot of the heat transfer from ever getting inside the attic space. And so I personally like a combination of both of those. I mean, we want to limit as much heat as possible from ever breaking the envelope of the home. And so the cooler your attic is, the more efficient your HVAC system is going to be, the less you're going to pay in energy bills. So the other thing that we have with insulation is that let's say that you have an attic that has an R19 of insulation. Let's say that that's what it is. Well, if you add an additional R19 of insulation, meaning you're doubling the amount of insulation, you would think that in general that would be twice as effective. An R38 would be twice as effective as an R19. Well,
probably not. Once it reaches the plateau.
Absolutely, yeah. It's the certain laws of thermodynamics that's going to say that an R19 is about 96% effective in limiting transfer of heat. When you go to an R38, it's like 97% effective.
Right.
So it really, you're not gaining that much. So, but if you have bare spots where you don't have any insulation, you definitely want to take care of those, because in those areas you have zero insulation.
Right.
So adding additional insulation would be a good idea.
Yeah. I have a follow-up question about the same. You said the blown-up would be better than the bats. Only thing I had a concern because we have a gable-mounted exhaust attic fan, and we also have a whole house attic fan which is installed in the ceiling, which ventilates the whole house. So is it likely to blown away if it is loose?
No, I mean
insulation. You know what I mean? Those fans working on and off.
Yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying. Is if you have this loose blown-in insulation, you have this fan. Is that fan going to move that insulation around? Typically not. I mean, typically the gable-mounted fans, they're not strong enough to move the insulation around. First of all, you need enough area for the intake to come in. So if you have exhaust, you need to have at least an equal amount of intake, which means the air is naturally flowing through that area. So it's not like you're building this negative air pressure that's actually going to suck and move the insulation around. You don't want that powerful of a fan, because that powerful of a fan would actually suck the air conditioning out of your home. So anything that would be strong enough to be able to move the insulation around is going to cause other problems anyways. So in general, I'm not concerned about the fan moving the insulation around. I'll tell you what does more harm in moving the insulation around. That's the people climbing through your attic, the cable guys, the phone people, the electricians, anybody that goes up there and is moving insulation around. That's going to do far more than negative than that fan would ever do.
Okay. And when we install the new blown-in insulation, do you recommend that you should sort of suck out the old one and put all new, or you just put on the top of the whatever is?
It depends. It depends on the condition. As long as the insulation that you have is in okay shape, it hasn't gotten wet or anything like that, then I'm fine with you going over the top of it. But if it's gotten wet, or if if it has rat feces or anything like that around, then I'm going to recommend that you suck that insulation out. But if you're sucking the old insulation out, I'm probably going to have you do like a spray foam insulation instead, which goes on the underside of the roof deck.
Alrighty, thank you very much, and I appreciate your input.
No problem. If you want a good insulation contractor, our business is called Universal Roofing Contracting. We're both roofing and building contractors. We do all different types of insulation. We don't just, have one type that no matter what the situation, that's what we sell you. We're building contractors, and so we do all different types. So if you want, you can call our office. It's 407-295-7403. Thanks.
295?
Yep, 407-295-7403. And it's Universal Roof and Contracting. All right, bud. Thanks for the call. We appreciate it. All right, there's a line open for you. If you have an air conditioning, heating, or any other general home improvement question, you can give us a call right now, 407-297-9696, or toll free, 855-297-9696. We're in the house. Take a quick break. Welcome back. In the House with Ken and Jared. Your home improvement questions are answered. All you have to do is give us a call, 407-297-9696, or toll free, 855-297-9696. We're focusing a lot on air conditioning and heating today because we're joined by Jeff Revlet as well as Daniel Santucci, both with Goodman AC. So let's go right back to the phones. Let's go to Ben in Celebration. Ben, you're in the house. Go ahead, my friend.
Hey, good afternoon, gentlemen. Thank you for taking a call.
Thanks.
Hey, my question was in regards to this DuPont M99 replacement for R22.
Okay.
Have you had any experience with contractors and its use, its benefits, and also any I guess, side effects or negative aspects of its use?
Hey, Ben, this is Jeff. That's a great question. And in the industry as a manufacturer, we have a lot of discussion that goes on regarding blended refrigerants. Obviously, R22 is in phase-out mode due to the Montreal Protocol that was signed back in the late 80s. Just a little bit of history about that. It's on a continuous phase-out process to where manufacturers can only produce a percentage of the previous year's baseline. So what has happened in the industry is that has driven the cost of R22 sky high. And so there's obviously a lot of discussion on the manufacturing side about different refrigerants as far as replacements, drop-ins, blended, that sort of thing. At this particular time frame, I know Goodman Manufacturing, and I'm pretty certain that the other manufacturers in the air conditioning industry have the same stance. It is not recommended to drop any other type of refrigerant in or mix any other type of refrigerant. And it's primarily because of the makeup of the compressor, which is basically the heart and soul of the system, the engine, if you will. And there's not a compressor manufacturer, to my knowledge, that will warranty anything that has a blended or a mixed refrigerant as well. So our stance has been, if it's an R22 system, it needs to stay with R22 refrigerant. If it's the new R410A refrigerant, it needs to stay with R410A. And at this point, there's not really been any substitution along those lines.
Yes, I would subscribe. I would subscribe to the, of course, no blending the refrigerants according to the EPA. Period. But what I did. There's been an ongoing argument on whether or not you could drop in a DuPont 99 into the system along with R22, which has it's close on the pressure temperature chart, but as far as being equal in makeup, I don't understand how they would work together. So, but your answer pretty much answers my question, which ultimately leads to voiding warranties on the system. So.
That's correct. You also don't know what it's going to do from an efficiency standpoint either in heat transfer.
Very good. Thanks, Ben. We appreciate your call. If you want to take his line, 407-297-9696, toll free 855-297-9696. 9696. Indoor air quality seems to be something that people are really focused on. And the thing is that as we build houses better and better, windows are sealed tighter, the exterior walls are sealed tighter. The HVAC system plays a much more critical role than ever in indoor air quality. What are you guys doing as a manufacturer, and what have you seen over the last number of years to help address that issue?
Do you want to take that, Jeff? Or?
Yeah, that's a great question, Jared, and it's definitely something that's become more and more prevalent as far as homeowner questions, and you hear more and more of situations with kids with allergies, asthma, that sort of thing, and you talked about the dogs in the house, and I can certainly relate to that, and there's a lot of different avenues that you can go in terms of indoor air quality. One of the approaches that Goodman has taken as a manufacturer is to kind of be on the cutting edge of a technology that's called photocatalytic oxidation. And
Bless you. Oh, wait, sorry.
Yeah, try to say that 3 times really fast. I'm sitting there really nervous. I'm not really going to say that right. But basically the technology, Jared, it's a titanium dioxide coated plate. And if you look at the technology that's used in EPA Superfund cleanup sites, for example.
Right.
Daniel mentioned earlier UV lights. What we do with that technology is we take a UV light, and the light collides onto the titanium dioxide coated plate, and it creates what we call PCO technology. And what it does, rather than like a filter that just stops it, it actually kills it.
Oh, wow.
It will kill microbial objects down to 0.03 micron. So extremely efficient. In front of that, we put a pre-filter that's a HEPA type, which is hospital grade type filter. And typically in years past, this was a system that would only be used in commercial or industrial applications. We've taken it and downsized it to where you can get that in your actual home now. So if you're talking to a contractor, an AC contractor, about indoor air quality, you want to ask about the PCO type technology because it's really kind of cutting edge right now, and it's gotten to the point where you can actually get them affordably put into your homes.
Great. Let's go back to the phones. Let's talk to Jerry in Mims. Jerry, you are in the house. Go ahead with your question.
Yes, my question is, a house that I purchased 6 months ago, a year ago, a new Goodman 4-ton was installed. It works beautiful. The only question I have is when it stops, it has a chatter, and that chatter seems to be getting a lot louder.
Have you had the installer come by to take a look at it?
We've been trying to find out. We was bought through a bank, so we have no idea who the installer was, but that was my next step. I was just kind of waiting until this hot weather cleared,
Sure.
Real quick, and we haven't mentioned it, if you're not sure of who to go to or you're not sure of who put the system in the house, you can always go to our website at www.goodmanmfg.com, And in there, you'll be able to search for a list of dealers in your area that you can have come out and take a look at your system and have them try to evaluate necessarily what's going on.
Okay.
This is a new home that you purchased, so you had it built?
No, this was, we'll just say it was a foreclosure. But the people that had it had brand new Goodman installed, and it was a year ago. It's only 6 months old when I bought the house.
Okay, sure. And if that equipment's registered too, I think the thing, depending on the type or model number that you have on that equipment, that'll give you 10 years on the parts on that system. So you're covered in that sense. So if there's a malfunction, certainly Goodman warranties that, so that can get taken care of. But we can. What it sounds like initially is that your scroll compressor, there's a compressor, the outside unit, which is the one that Jeff had said before does the heavy lifting. And when it slows down, you have two plates that rub together, and it slows down, and you'll hear those sometimes rubbing together. But if the noise is getting a little bit louder, it could be a number of things. I don't necessarily want to
we don't
speculate.
need to get too technical.
Yeah. So I think the best thing that you can do, Bob, is go out to the website and find a dealer that would necessarily come out there, take a look at it, and diagnose it properly.
And again, you can go to goodmanmfg.com, and there's a link there that you can actually search that. You can also go to our website, inthehousshow.com. We have a link to Goodman from our site as well. Thanks, Jerry. We appreciate your call. Let's go to Bob in Union Park. Bob, you're in the house. Go ahead.
Hey, good afternoon. We'll stick with the air conditioning.
Let's do it.
Okay, I have a couple of duplexes that had very old systems in them. I'm talking 20 to 25 years old, still working.
Okay.
The problem is R22 versus R410. When I have to replace these, how long will the R22 still be good? Can I replace it with them?
Well, Bob, that is a question that I knew was going to be coming today. And so I actually have my Montreal Protocol timeline in front of me. But without getting too detailed, basically, if you're 22 years old, my advice would be you need to replace to the new refrigerant for a couple of reasons. One, the efficiency level that you're looking at right now is so low that you're probably not getting any kind of payback whatsoever. Secondly, R22 is going to be phased out. 2015 is when we really start seeing some serious reductions in production, so it's just not going to be cost beneficial to stay with R22. And then one more reason is R22 is not even being manufactured in the units now. Now, we, along with several other manufacturers, make a unit that is shipped with a nitrogen charge in it that can have R22 added to it later on down the line, just because the EPA does not allow us to manufacture anything with R22 in it from the factory. The challenge with that, though, is you're limited to 13 SEER, which is the baseline SEER level right now. If you want to go any efficiency higher than 13, which I would recommend that you would, then you need to go to the R410A new refrigerant.
And also, too, you want to look at it being able to get a permit pulled on that. So you're going to get a correct ARI number. So you have to be very careful with that. What you see today is a lot of people will say, I just want to replace the outside unit, and we'll just go from there. The problem is that you do have to pull permit, and it's very difficult to do that, again, when you're looking at replacing just one piece of the equipment.
Oh, okay. I think you decided it for me, the fact that 2015's coming up pretty quick.
It is. It gets closer and closer every day, that's for sure. Thanks, Bob. We appreciate your call. So for people who have one of the older units that have the R22, we can still get plenty to do maintenance and those sort of things. But if somebody's replacing the unit, then at that point, it's just better to go ahead and use the new, correct?
In my opinion, especially when you're in Central Florida, because you want to get a higher efficiency unit, and you're going to be limited to 13 SEER if you do get one of the units that just has the holding charge in it. And whether or not you believe that R22 puts a hole in the ozone, which is a whole other philosophical discussion, or not, R410A is definitely the refrigerant of the future.
Right.
There's been a lot of talks. They're going to be drop-ins, like we had a previous caller talk about. But according to our manufacturers of compressors, it's just not going to happen. 410A is going to be the wave of the future.
Yeah, I mean, good, bad, and different. I mean, the thing is the EPA decided what they decided, and
Exactly.
it is what it is. Whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent, it's being phased out. So,
Exactly.
so therefore, it doesn't necessarily make sense to use something that that is on its way out. Plus, I would imagine that with anything, just like anything, when something is being phased out, as it gets further and further along, it's going to continue to get more and more expensive.
It is, and it's going to be harder to get a contractor that has that material available, because it is going to be harder to get a hold of.
Yeah, and keep in mind too, your outside unit and your inside unit, they work together to give you your overall efficiency. Okay,
Right.
So when you start tilting the apple cart, so to speak, you can run into problems with your efficiency. Not to say that it doesn't work,
Right.
but you're not going to get the overall the investment that you're putting into it. So I guess the best way to look at it is it's an investment, not a purchase, and look what you're going to get in the long run and how much it's going to cost you, not just what it's going to cost at that time.